Boom, and we are live with another episode of the Brown Water Banter Podcast. My name is Jared Seymour.
My name is Joey Cage.
That's right, and we got a great show for you lined up this evening, man. We have Sheriff Mike Ezell is in the studio, man. He's going to be talking to us today about a lot of things. We're going to start with his background in law enforcement, how he became sheriff, and then the November 8th midterm elections coming up, and well, that's going to be a whole bunch of stuff to talk about too. So looking forward to this, man. I hope y'all are ready for it. But before we do that, before we jump into the fun, we are going to support the people that keep our lights on for us over here. Right out the gate, we got Dr. Robbie Williams over there in Ocean Springs on Washington Avenue at Southern Magnolia Smiles, man. If you're looking for a great local dentist, he is your one-stop shop. You can check him out on the socials there at Southern Magnolia Smiles on Facebook and Instagram. And when you're ready to make that appointment, just give him a call at 228-215-1202. And we appreciate his support, man. Next, coming right up, Hilltree Marketing. If you need a website done for any reason, if you're running for Congress and you need a website built for you, we have I
like that.
Yeah, we have a local guy here who has put together a great team. You can see it here on the flyer. This is Jesse Hill and his team. Just jump over to hilltreemarketing.com. Look at some of the other brands that he's worked with locally. He does a great job. Specializes in photography, cinematography, aerial drone cinematography, IT work. He's kind of a one-stop local shop, man, and the ability to get that here local is you can't say enough good things about it. So hilltreemarketing.com, go check him out. Moving right along here, our good buddy Rocky over at Sea to Swamp. That's a Gaucher Van Cleve Road. If you're looking for tackle and apparel, you can go check him out and support him. He supports the show, man. There's a picture of his store right there, busting at the seams. He's carrying brown water hats now as well.
Yep.
On that hat rack right there. So if you want to go get some outdoor stuff, rods, reels, tackle, whatever, support the people that support the show and support your community. Sea to Swamp, man, we appreciate everything they're doing. Coming up here, we got Calvin Taylor. Super pumped to have him on board supporting the show. We're talking politics today, and he's running for a circuit court judge for Jackson, Greene, and Stone County. Is that right, Joey? Stone?
Jackson, George.
George, man, I'm messing up every time. I do it every time. That's okay. I just want you to feel a part of it, so that's why I do that. But Calvin's a great guy. We're going to have him in the studio, like I've been telling y'all, coming up here in the very near future. He's over 30 years of experience. He's currently serving as an Ocean Springs municipal judge, and we like I say, November the 8th, when you see his name on the ballot, we want you to give him a shot because we think he's a very much qualified candidate. We've talked to a lot of people in that field that support him, and so do we. So you've heard us talk about it. It's this weekend, right, Joey? September the 17th. A good buddy of ours, Joel, unfortunately, his mother has been diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig disease, if you're not familiar. And they're doing a benefit September the 17th at the D'Iberville Community Center over on Lamy Bridge Road. It's going to be from 12 to 6 p.m. They're going to be selling $10 pulled pork sandwich plates, silent auction, doing baked goods, a raffle, just an all-around great event to raise money for a great family that's been stricken by an uneventful unfortunate, I should say, situation, man. And we send all our prayers and love for Joel and his family. So,
that's right.
We're sending some stuff over to
we got a bucket that's coming out there tomorrow. So.
Okay, and then I'm gonna have to read this off here. Let me pull this.
Yeah, we got Pascagoula Men's Club coming on.
Okay,
it's their 4th annual barbecue cook-off. We don't have the picture because we didn't have time to convert it.
He sent it as a PDF. I can't do that.
Yeah, it's October 22nd, and it's downtown Pascagoula. Free to the public, live music, local vendors will be there slinging some hats and stuff. And if you've never been there, it's a great time right in the city of Pascagoula.
Yeah,
they got is. I mean, when you walk down there and your taste buds go explode, right. You're in the right place, and that's just from smell. So go check them out. Drink specials, participate in bars, $15 wristbands. The contact on that is Bruce Litton, and that's 228-219-1067. Again, that's 228-219-1067. That's the Pascagoula Men's Club.
Okay. All right. Let's jump right in. Right. Sheriff, first thing I want to do is thank you for stopping in here and hanging out with us this evening. We really appreciate that. First question though, like we was talking about earlier before we went live, is like, let's start with your background, because we were talking a little bit before we went live here this evening. Yeah. How'd you get into law enforcement?
Well, my dad was a Pascagoula police officer, and I grew up in it. And I never dreamed of doing anything else but being a police officer. And I can remember telling my dad as a little boy that I was going to be police chief. And never thought I'd be the sheriff, but here we are.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a neighborhood where most kids, their dad either was a city policeman, fireman, or they worked at the shipyard, or they owned their own business. So
Right.
we were kind of a small knit group there in Pascagoula growing up. And, I grew up just being a part of the town, and just growing up, going in and out of the police station. So I never dreamed of being anything else but a cop.
Pascagoula is a great town. I work over at Singing River in Pascagoula, and I don't get to spend a ton of time over there outside of the hospital.
Right.
But the barbecue fest, that opened my eyes.
Yeah.
The first time we went over there, the people were nice. The weather's nice.
Yep.
The scenery is definitely
well.
Nice.
They got a nice little downtown area too that they're trying to
and it's really coming back.
That's right.
I tell you, they're putting a lot of work in there, and I'm telling you, it reminds. It's where I grew up.
Yeah,
that's where my parents shopped. That's where I grew up, getting my school clothes and going downtown. So very familiar with all that.
I didn't realize they had the square like kind of in Biloxi with the View Marché.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that, or kind of like Ocean Springs downtown a little bit.
Yeah,
but
it's nice.
The cool thing about it's got its own vibe. It's its own little Pascagoula vibe. So you tell your dad you're going to be a police officer, and then you make it come true. So where did you get your start? Where'd you cut your teeth at?
Well, I actually started in the Pascagoula Police Reserves in 1979, and as a matter of fact, it was September the 7th, 1979, and in the following week, Hurricane Frederick hit. Oh. So, I was go cat go early on.
Yeah.
So, I had a lot of good experience there, working in the police reserves, and then when 1980, the following year, I turned 21, and I got hired and went on the road. I started out, actually worked in the jail for a while, the old jail, and then when I got 21, I was able to transition over onto the road and never looked back. So
you said September the 7th, so you just celebrated an anniversary not too long ago. 43 years, if I did the math right. Okay, I was trying to add that up while you was talking.
I was about to say, there's no way I could do that, man.
Well, I just worked backwards from my birthday, so that's how I did that.
That's exactly right. And as a matter of fact, there's a guy that's still in the police reserves. He and I went in the same night together, Steve Huckabee, and we always kid each other on that specific date. But he'll send me a text message, 9779, and we talk about that and how old he's getting. I hadn't aged anybody.
Right. So, neither have we.
Yeah, but he's still there. He sure is.
So do y'all kind of have that competition? Who's going to last the longest?
No, I tell you what, we never thought that it would be like this. But I tell you, the thing about it is, his dad was also in the police reserves, and he was good friends with my dad. So, we've just had a long parallel career. Stephen, he's still in, and so am I. So, yeah.
It seems like that with a lot of law enforcement, and especially first responders, AMS, firemen. It's in your blood.
It is.
It's usually passed down through an uncle or a dad or a mom or something like that, and it's a tradition, really.
Yeah. My dad's best friend was the fire chief, and when my dad first went to work at the police department, his best friend, who was Robert Pierce, was a police officer, and they were just best friends. And Robert went on to be a fireman, and Dad stayed at the police department. But they were, like I say, I grew up going either the police and fire department, just all the time being in that environment.
Yeah.
It's just something that I love. And I love all of our first responders. I said the prayer Saturday at the run over at the Margaritaville for the
the 9/11.
I did 9/11. I said the prayer for them and sent them off running. I watched them run. I wasn't running. And if you see me run, it's because I run out of bullets.
That's right. So, shoot whatever's behind me.
Exactly right.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, sure.
So at 21, you go from, did I hear you right, from reserve to would that be active duty, active duty police officer?
Regular full-time Pascagoula police officer. One of the things that I really wanted to do, Pascagoula always had a very competitive pistol team. And so I was able to, my first year out, I made alternate on my very first try. There were 6 guys that were on the team, 4 regulars and 2 alternates. I made alternate my first year, and I got to do a lot of shooting throughout my first 10 years on the police department. And so after that, I kind of was moving up into the ranks and had to kind of transition out of that shooting. But I always loved competition shooting. I got to travel a lot and represent Pascagoula PD, and was always very proud to do that, and won a few awards and lost some of my hearing along the way.
Yeah, you see the hearing aids there on the glass.
That's right. So wear your ear protection, kids.
Yeah.
Well, he said he did, right?
I did. Yeah, I wore my ear protection, but I guess in the old days, some of that stuff just wasn't as good as it is now, you know.
Yeah.
And but I would have done it without hearing that.
Right.
Hearing protection.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun.
Well, you were young and full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what you had.
Oh yeah,
right.
you're 6 feet tall and
Bulletproof. That's right. That's right.
So I thought it was anyway, but and I could see a lot better in those days as well. And in those days, we shot just revolvers, and you started out at the 7-yard line. Oh yeah. Started out at the 7-yard line, and you went to the 25, 15, 7, 15, 25, 50, back to the 7.
50-yard shot with a revolver
with a
pistol.
Revolver.
Good
yes,
Lord,
sir, exactly
that's a shot.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a shot.
Metal
that's a shot.
sights.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
That's what it is.
Yeah. That's okay. All right. So yeah. All right. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. We got a comment rolling in here. Justin, Samples. He said, my boss is looking sharp tonight. He said he's got the story table.
Yeah.
So
he way outdressed us.
Justin just did, I don't know if you know, he does on the side, he buffs, sands, cleans boats, and he just did mine. And I'm talking about he transformed my boat. He brought it back to life.
Yeah.
There's pictures on the internet. He does a great job.
Okay. Yeah.
Great job.
He's been promising me a fishing trip for the last 8 years, and I'm still
it's
waiting.
on record now.
That's right. Justin.
That's
Let
it.
me show the comment on here. I don't think I showed it on there.
it.
That's it. That's live too, man. You got it.
Yeah,
you got it.
on record now, bro.
That's it.
That's it. So all right. So tell me how do you as a police officer, your dad was there. It's kind of in your blood. You said, but then I guess 2 questions would be like, what is your role as a police officer at that level in the community? Like, and I don't just mean what, the black and white of it. What did you?
Well, I'll tell you this. My dad used to, he was one of those guys that shared his wisdom occasionally, whether you wanted it or not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
I know a couple of people like that.
That's right. So sometimes I would listen, sometimes I didn't. But one thing I did get right, my dad was always a big part of the community. Right. And he was always about seeing to the needs of other people. And one of the things that he told me, and I have 3 sisters, and what he used to tell me was, he said, think about if your mother and your sisters were off somewhere, broke down, or they needed some help, what kind of policeman do you want to go help your mother and your sisters? I said, well, Dad, somebody like us. He said, exactly.
Right.
He said, you do that in your career, and you won't ever have anything to worry about. Now, troubles are always going to come.
Correct.
We understand that. But if you take care of people like they were your family, and policing it's more than just making arrests and writing tickets.
Right.
It's about being somebody that is available when people call. And so the only campaign promise I ever made as the sheriff is that if you call, we're coming and we're going to help.
Mm-hmm.
We may not be able to solve your problem or do anything to make your life any better, but we're going to show up.
Right.
Just showing up is a big part of the community, and showing people that you actually care about them. And people know if you do care, or if you're just saying that to get elected or whatever it may be. But I mean it, and folks right now, more than I think any other time that I can remember, they need to know that their sheriff's office, their police department, is committed to their community. And I can tell you, we are here at Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and I'm proud of it.
Absolutely.
I believe it. Yeah, that's good, because God knows, like, the perception of law enforcement in today's age has just been turned on its head, I guess you'd say. I mean, with all the stuff that you see in the national news.
Yeah, like you said, it used to be straight members of the community. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now all of a sudden people look at police like they're the bad guy.
Right.
I'm sure that varies from like this, a county office like we have versus a massive police office, like in a city, a bigger city or something
Detroit,
like that.
something like
Right. But even those guys are usually from that city, so they know those families, they know who they're policing, right?
Right.
But so how do you climb your ranks throughout the department to get to a position where you could run for sheriff?
Well, I'll tell you, I was always wanted to do better.
Okay.
I always did my best. Whatever job I've had, I've always done my best. And there's folks say, work as if you're working for the Lord, and that's what I try to do.
Right.
And I've always done that. I've always tried to better myself. Every time that a promotional exam came up, the command staff knew that I was a good troop. They knew that I was responsible. They knew that I had a desire to do better for not only for myself, but for other members of the community, like we talked about.
Right.
So I was always very competitive when it come to taking the test, going for interviews. And, I was fortunate enough that early in my career, there was a kind of like, these folks that decide to retire. And it seems like when some of them start retiring, there'll be several of them say, look, it's time to go. So my first couple of promotions, I was fortunate there was a number of openings for promotion. And, I was promoted to sergeant. And then I got promoted to lieutenant. And then 4 years later, I got promoted to captain. And I spent a number of years as captain over detectives at Pascagoula PD. And that was a wonderful time in my life for the learning experience that I had. Along the way, when I was a lieutenant, I got to attend the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was that like up there?
It was fabulous.
Yeah.
I tell you, I tell this story a lot of times. It's 11 weeks of training in Quantico, and it's very intense. But it was some of the best training I ever had in my life. And I've told many people this, that I have dreams about it sometimes, that I'm going to get that call and says, Ezell, you need to come back. You start your training all over again. I'd say I'm going to run home and tell Suzette, look, please be here when I get back, but I'm headed out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I say, it was just some wonderful training. I've met, there were people from all over the world that were in our class. And it's just, I still have contact with a lot of those guys that I went to the academy with. And it's just it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah. That's a bundle of knowledge now.
Oh yeah. Cause different places, different,
Right.
different schemes, different everything. You
That's
learn a whole lot from different, just sheriff departments or police in general.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the big leagues.
Oh
yeah. Right.
Oh yeah. That was like my roommate was chief inspector of detectives for the city of Jerusalem, Israel.
Whoa.
And,
so that's a whole different ball game.
Even train those guys.
So,
that's a whole different ball
this
game.
guy, he was phenomenal. We've stayed in contact all these years. He's retired now and he's got his own consulting business and still over there in Israel. And we communicate on LinkedIn by messaging each other.
There you go.
And occasionally we'll drop a line and stuff like that. So it's really, really a good friend of mine.
That's awesome.
So captain, you're at that level. You do the training with the FBI.
Yep.
How long was you at that position, and then where next? Because I'm learning the ranks as you're telling me here.
Well, I'll tell you, I spent about 7 years as captain over detectives, and during that time, we had some major casework. That was like in the height of when we had a lot of crack problems in town, and we had a lot of stuff going on. Some major cases we worked, homicides, kidnappings, just a lot of experience.
Right.
And so from there, I got an opportunity to go be police chief in Ocean Springs, and went over there for a couple of years and got some good experience with that. And then I got an offer to go back to Pascagoula and to work directly into the FBI office. And so I spent 3 years working inside the FBI office as a Pascagoula investigator. Got to do some traveling all around the country, working a lot of big cases. Matter of fact, I was working in the FBI office when 9/11 occurred.
Oh, wow.
And so, things really got the highest level there of our work and what we were doing in there. And I got to do a lot of things during that time. And also, I got to go back to Quantico during that time for some additional training, which was just phenomenal. And so I've had a great career there in my field as a law enforcement officer.
So you're saying you weren't an FBI agent, but you were in their office inside of Pascagoula Police Department. Is that like a liaison between the two? Okay.
Right. And the FBI started that. It's called Safe Streets Task Force.
Okay.
They started that back in the early 90s. Really because it would just kind of add some local manpower to the FBI office to tackle some of the major crimes that were going on around the country. And our office here in Pascagoula was fortunate enough to get to have one of those people assigned to that office, and I loved it. I tell you what, I enjoyed it. got to do some good things that that a regular law enforcement officer can't do.
You mentioned the 9/11 thing.
Yeah.
I wonder how was that during that time with Chevron?
Yeah.
We don't realize that. Somebody mentioned this to me.
It was probably code red everywhere.
Well, because there isn't very many. How many refineries are there in the U.S.?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have the one big refinery here in town.
So we're kind of a target, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely,
potentially
shipyard,
and
Ingalls being what it is, right? So I'm sure there was a high alert.
Oh, it was. I tell you what, it was a time that I hope we never see again.
Absolutely.
But I was glad to be a part of it. We got to do some investigating, checking out some folks that were here locally, and fortunately, nothing ever happened.
Good
here, but being a part of that has helped me to come to the place where I am today in my life, just to get to know, to get a top secret clearance, to get to go do some things and be in some places that were just a wonderful experience.
Wow. Yeah. So you have this huge, gigantic book of references and everything you've done, and then you get the chance to run for sheriff of Jackson County, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you, that was, I made the decision to run for sheriff in 2014. The sheriff had been removed from office that was here. That was that really bothered me deeply. For my profession was not in a good place.
It was kind of a little stingy. Yeah,
that wasn't a great note, and that your predecessor was well respected in the community before all that happened. My family, especially, really spoke highly. Always voted that way for him, and anytime you needed anything, you give him a call. So we were all very taken aback by that even. Occurred,
it is, and it was there was a lot of things going on in the background that I'm sure a lot of folks don't know about that situation, but it bothered me deeply that had happened, and so that's one of the reasons that inspired me to run for sheriff, and lo and behold, we run. There was, I can't remember, 6 or 7 candidates. We made the runoff, and then 2 weeks later we had the general, and we won that with 62% of the vote, and we had to turn right around. That was in 14. We ran for the special election to finish the other sheriff's term.
Right.
So I had to turn around in 15
do it again.
And run for my own term. And we had one opponent. We ended up winning with 82% of the vote.
That's pretty good.
There you go.
Pretty good.
Yeah. People of Jackson County.
That's really, a B.
Yeah. I call it a landslide.
Yeah. We were very excited about that. And something 4 years later, we run in 19. We didn't have an opponent. And I take that back to the right attitudes.
Right.
When you have your men and women of law enforcement out here treating people right, taking care of people, answering their calls, meeting the needs, doing what a good law enforcement officer does. There are times where, we have to make some hard decisions.
Correct. Always.
That's right. It's going to happen. I mean, in society, things happen. There's some evil people out there.
Yes.
And you have to deal with it. And but we were fortunate enough we didn't have an opponent in 19, and that was the first time. And of course, I didn't know it, but that was the first time in Jackson County history that a sheriff didn't have an opponent. And
so that's reflection of good work.
Well, I think so. It's a reflection of good work, good leadership, good people out there working to take care of folks.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And so here we go, 19, no opponent. And I was able to help on a couple of statewide races. And that's kind of got me some little exposure around the district in South Mississippi, which kind of led us to the decision to run for Congress. But it wasn't just because I didn't have an opponent. I had some exposure. I'm very concerned about our country and the way things are going, the way things are seem to be going even worse.
Correct.
Just a few years ago, we were independent of oil. We had secure borders. We had people out there doing their jobs, making a living. minding their own business and
Correct.
just trying to, be good citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got an 8-year-old granddaughter. Our daughter is grown and teaches kindergarten.
My
son-in-law is he's a
God bless
works
her.
hard. Yeah. Oh yeah. She's been teaching now almost 16 years, and it's like I just can't believe it. And I was just thinking about my son-in-law, my daughter, my granddaughter, and I got a good family, and I see what's going on in the country, and I just felt like I was going to do something about it, just like I did when I decided to run for sheriff. I didn't like what I was seeing going on. I didn't like what I see going on around the country right now.
Right.
And back, last year when we made the decision, and we signed up and we never looked back.
That leads me to what I want to ask you too, and we'll get more towards where we're at now with Congress. But what do you think? Allowed you to win in that special election? I know you mentioned that you ran on just showing up.
Yeah.
Like we'll be not just showing up. That didn't sound right. We'll be there, right? You ran on that. What do you think gave you the edge over how many people were running at the time?
There was a bunch.
Yeah. How did you cut through the mold?
I'll tell you this. I try to listen to people. I try to respond to their needs, and I think our message resonated with the folks. When I was going around the district, the common complaint that I heard was that our congressman is not here, and he's not return calls, those kinds of things.
Right.
And I've got a reputation for showing up, standing up, returning my phone calls, doing the best I can for the folks. And, I'll tell you, 42 years as a law enforcement officer, I've come in contact with a lot of people.
Correct.
And, I had the support of men and women of law enforcement, our first responders. I had sheriffs in all the other counties that were helping us. And I just believe that the people were ready for a change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I think our message got out there. And I'll tell you, the people in Jackson County, they turned out for me, and I will be forever grateful for that.
And that's the second time, well, at least probably more than that. I'm even was talking earlier about in 2014 when you ran for sheriff and had to cut through the mix on those candidates.
Yeah. That's that was my next question. What was the difference in campaigning between the sheriff and now?
Well, we had a good message. We had a good law and order message. I've got a good reputation again of taking care of people's needs.
Right.
And they're you can answer a police call, and you can kind of be like a robot and give me your driver's license, blah, 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 write it down. Or you can go to somebody who their house may have been broken into, or something may have happened to one of their children. And you sit down with those folks and you say, okay, what's going on here? Be genuinely concerned about people, because, and I'll tell you, and I think y'all probably know this, our victims always get forgotten about. Our victims. And so I try to think of it like that.
Right.
If I was a victim, or if that was a family member, a victim, or an innocent child, or a senior adult, somebody that doesn't know anybody, that doesn't have any connections.
Right.
I try to make them feel like, and I'm sincere about it, what can we do to help you?
Right.
And that has been my life.
What we may be jumping around a little bit,
It's
so
okay.
y'all follow
Yes,
us here on the live.
I like
and on
jumping
audio. That's right.
Yeah.
What you get elected as sheriff then in the 14, then 1 year later you got to do it again. You get elected again, and then you already mentioned in 19 ran unopposed. When you first walked in day one as the elected sheriff, what is that like, and what did you do to turn around the community and I would assume your department as well, right? Because there's got to be a lot of exactly.
There was a lot of
mistrust and
there was a lot of stink that was left
That's a good
off
word.
of it.
Yeah,
exactly right. Well, one of the first things that I said was, I got everybody in there, and I said, you may not have voted for me, but I'm your sheriff today.
Correct.
And if you want to stay here and be a part of this organization, we're going to put some good, sound policy in place so that the things that happened in the past won't happen again.
Right.
If you want to work, I want you to be here. If you don't want to work, there's the door.
there you go.
And
I like it.
I need you. I appreciate you. We got a job to do. Let's go do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just that simple. I don't believe in mistreating people. If you want to work here, I want you to be here. But if you don't, I don't need you.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And that's what I'll do going forward. I want everybody to be a part of the team. This individual stuff is a bunch of malarkey.
Right.
We're a team. We work as a team. We train as a team. We go out as a team. We come home as a team, period. And that's just the way we're going to do things.
Yeah.
And I believe that they listen to me. And here we are. We got a great department. And just ask them.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect by no means. I mean, I try to have good, policy in place to take care of the people, because when you are the sheriff or a leader of an organization and you got people working for you, you got to remember they got wives, they got children, they got mamas, they got daddies, they got family
all
members.
kinds of stuff going on.
And so it ain't just them you're dealing with. You got a whole community. And so they showed their support of me last June.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
I was impressed, and I talked to a couple people who opinion I respect when it comes to local politics, and your name got mentioned a few times as to be the guy to look out for.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, and then it happened, and I almost forgot we had to go through the actual election.
Jared was already declared.
I told Joey, I said, well, we missed our opportunity. He'll be in DC, before
I was like, dude, you still got it right.
Still got November the 8th. I'm like, that's right, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
But so, and I'm glad that we've covered all the topics, because I want people to hear your answers to that, and how you got to where you are today, the reason why you decided to run for Congress here. And then now going into November 8th, when they see your name on the ballot, hopefully they hear the story and they can relate to it. Right. So let's hit the bigger picture. Let's hit the
first. Let's go. We got a Republican, which is you.
Yep.
A Democrat, which is,
we don't need to say the name. No.
Independent, who is
we don't need to say the name.
Yeah,
right. Go look
correct.
him up.
So that's who we're going against.
Yeah.
And we got you in the studio right now. So let's talk about where you're going with that.
Right. So you mentioned a little bit, we already touched on it, the issues that are facing the country that inspired you to run for this, right? So gas prices, everybody knows, like the big points, right? Gas prices are through the roof. They've came down $2, and everybody's championed that as a success when it was
it's not
$1 a few years ago.
Yeah.
The border being wide open, you can watch it every single day.
Yes.
You're a law enforcement guy, right? You hear the guys out of Laredo, the border towns in Texas, complaining every day. Then you have representatives in northern states, who I will not name, that say there is no problem, that this is all made up, right? And it's a human problem. It's a human crisis, but at the same time, you have to have law and order, correct? Because it's not just people, it's also drugs. And we see that every single day.
Every day. If you look at, and I'll just tell you this, last year we had 142 deaths from fentanyl overdose in Jackson County.
It's huge.
That is unheard of.
Yeah.
And this is terrible. And if you think this is not by design, you're not thinking, because don't think that the Chinese are not doing this. Don't think that the Chinese are not working with the Mexican drug cartels. Don't think that this is just a coincidence. That's right. And I tell you this, our Border Patrol guys and gals down there are being run to exhaustion. So think about this. A lot of these folks that are down there who are overwhelmed on Border Patrol, all right, you got Border Patrol agents that are trying to work the border, but you've also got a section of these Border Patrol agents who are having to deal with these people on an individual basis by, getting all their information down, as they come into the country. And this is nonstop. So, you have so many Border Patrol agents who are being tasked with administrative duties by, writing name, rank, serial number down, and who these folks are, and putting them over here until they can turn them loose into the country.
Right.
So what you have here is less Border Patrol agents on the border, because so many of them are having to do administrative duties. And on top of that, they don't have the support of the government.
Right.
No.
And I'll say that, like even law enforcement today. On a local level, we are totally supported. On a national level, we never had to worry about the government not supporting us. But now, for the first time in my almost 43 years of law enforcement, we don't have the support of the government. Now they're trying to back it up a little bit and say,
because it didn't
right.
sell.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. They pushed that.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the midterms.
Right.
So now they're trying to say, we've always supported law enforcement. Not true.
Where was you about a year and a half ago?
Yeah. You know, where were you at when they were burning,
right,
you know, cities down in 2020? Where were you? You know, you were talking about getting rid of us, defunding the police.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at the consequences of that right now. And it's the same thing that's going on at the border. It's terrible.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I think needless to say that when that issue comes up, when you're in DC,
that's right.
We know where you stand.
You know where I'm at.
Yeah.
All exactly the way.
Right. Yeah. You know, and I'll tell you, there's more than just people coming across, you know, with this fentanyl. You got human trafficking going on.
Correct.
It's terrible.
You got children that are being sold into sex slaves.
Correct.
Right.
And this is horrible. I don't see how the Democrats could ignore this. I mean, children are being, it's terrible what's going on down at that border. And I'll tell you this also, I heard just a little bit ago on the radio about the morgues down there in South Texas are being overrun because of all the drownings and deaths that are
trying
happening.
To get across.
Yes, trying to get across that border. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on other than just illegal crossing.
Yeah, right. and one of the things about being able to talk a little bit longer like we're doing versus a 5-second interview or a clip in a newspaper is that it's not, and they don't say this enough, I don't feel like on the national news, it's not so black and white that, because I think it gets painted that the Democrats care about the immigrants and that's why they're, you know, not hard on a southern border, and the Republicans only care about they don't care about the tragedy or the strife that those people are going through. And that's not true. No. To say that you want a strong southern border doesn't mean that you just soon turn those people back to the desert and let them die, right?
No.
There are other ways than just allowing them to flood
the legal
through.
way.
The legal way, correct.
That's right.
Diplomacy,
right?
Being in correspondence with those governments, those South American governments, and trying to figure out, you know, I'm sure that's like, you know, an uphill battle, but it's an avenue, right? But just letting them flood through. And like you said, it's not just a mother and her child. These are bad people.
It's the bad guys that come with them,
selling drugs, bringing drugs across the border, and like you said, trafficking humans.
Oh yeah, you know, and how in the world that somebody could ignore just basic human needs, you know? And that's what's going on here. You know, there are so many things going on that we don't even know about.
Right.
Yeah. You know, that it's happening, you know, because the criminal element, you know, they never stop. You know, they're always on some kind of a plan to continue on with whatever it is they can get away with, however they can make money with it.
And you saw that in law enforcement. Whenever you stop one thing, they come up with something else.
Exactly right. So, you know, it's being brought, it's being dropped off, it's being pushed, you know, there's all sorts of things going on. And there are legal ways to get folks in this country. You know, if you want to come here and you want to go by the legal route, we want you here.
Absolutely.
We want you to
This country was built by
exactly.
people like that.
That's it. And you know, that's how we all got here at some point in time.
Right.
And so I there's a better way, and it's not being done right now.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Right. Yeah, that's true.
We got to talk about that oil.
Yeah. Which part of it?
All of it.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I guess it's the next big thing you're running on, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, we have enough energy supply in this country to keep us going for who knows how long.
Right.
And so let's use that while we try to figure out some other things down the road that could work.
Now, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. Yeah. California just put out their policy that
it doesn't make any sense.
Well,
they put a ban on gasoline cars
for 2050 or 30. I don't remember what the year.
And now there's rolling blackouts, and they're telling people you cannot use your power grid.
Literally the next day in the paper.
What are we supposed to do? Just walk everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, you know, to me, this is another way that there are certain people in this country that are trying to get us in a place to where we have no alternatives. You know, I don't care if somebody wants an electric car and they want to pay for it, but don't try to make me do it. America's built on freedom and free enterprise and free market, and let's do something better. If you can come up with a battery operated car that can run I'm all for it. But right now we got gas and it works.
Correct.
Well, no one ever explains on the news to me, first of all, what's the carbon footprint of an electric vehicle to begin with anyway? How much petroleum goes into building that car? Not even talking about the minerals that it takes to build the batteries and then the lifetime of that battery.
Disposal.
Also, where does the electricity come from that you charge that car?
Exactly right.
It's coal burning plants now.
I would like to invite all those people down to South Mississippi during Katrina.
And
say, here you go. Use your batteries now, Cap. See how that
works.
See how it goes.
That's exactly
or as an example of why the Second Amendment is as important as it is, because law enforcement during that was wiped out down
overrun.
Here. The National Guard had to show up.
Exactly right.
And if you didn't have a way to protect yourself, there was nothing to call, no one to call.
Yeah, I mean, there was nobody to call. You know, the police play such a vital role in this country, and we have for hundreds of years, and we will continue to do so. And I am convinced that the pendulum is going to come back. We're going to get the support. And I can tell you this, the general consensus of all Americans is they support their police. There's a very small
very vocal,
and they got the media, and they slam us every chance.
That's the devil. The media is the devil.
That's exactly right. So I don't know a cop in my whole entire career that got up one morning and said, I'm gonna abuse somebody today. It don't happen. We're out there answering calls, taking care of business, doing what we're hired to do to take care of the public,
putting their lives on the line.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you, for the very minute percentage of officers that do something they shouldn't do is so few and far between, but the media will just blow it all out of proportion. I mean, that is the way it's done. And you think we are better trained, we're better prepared, we're better focused, we're better ready to get the job done than we've ever been. And I've been doing this for a long time. I know what it was like back in the old days. I know what it was like when my dad was there. And we are so far advanced. We have so much technology. We can take care of problems in an instant nowadays.
Mr. Jerry Bartz is.
He
said he agrees. We're good. We went to high school with his son.
Okay,
that's good.
That was literally my next question. You saw it all the way coming up through the ranks without social media, and now you see it with social media, and the difference has got to be.
Oh my God! Well, I'll tell you this. There were very few police officers back in the 50s when my dad was a young patrolman. And, they had no radios in the car. They had these phones. They had these phone boxes around town, and they would go and call in and check doors and call into the station. And if there was a call, a radio call, they would say, you got a XYZ at 10th Street or whatever. And that's what they did, as compared to right now where we have instant communication. And, even back when I was a young patrolman, and if the dispatcher had a call that she wanted you to handle, but she didn't want to put it out on the radio, she would say, 17, give me a phone call. And we would pull up to the phone booth, and I'd say, here's a number. And so they would call us and say, all right, I need you to go check X, Y, whatever it was. And we'd go take care of it. And so, it's just, we're just so far advanced now as compared to what we were.
With as much time as you have in law enforcement, how do you not become cynical when it comes to people?
Well, I tell you, it's a calling. You get tired, you get frustrated, you get aggravated, but generally, even people that publicly don't like you and will say that privately, they will say, thank you for coming here.
Correct.
I know that. I've seen the full circle. I've seen kids. I've arrested their family member on down the line, and I've had them come back to me and say, thank you for doing that. I've had them come to me, but sometimes, you do get cynical, but law enforcement's a calling. It's not a job, it's a calling. And that's the way I feel about it.
And that's in your blood, and I think that's what's leading you on to what you're going to do now.
Absolutely.
What else do we have at the national level that we need to tackle? Election integrity. That's another big one, right?
Mississippi has one of the best election formats, statutes than anywhere in the country. I mean, we've got it figured out. If you talk to anybody around this country and say, do you mind showing your driver's license to vote or get on an airplane or buy a product or something like that? Nobody complains about that. But the very small, minute amount of folks that have the attention of the media will try to blow this all out of proportion like there is some sort of big hidden agenda besides showing your ID to vote.
Right.
And, we've got to have election integrity. We have concerns about going all the way back to 2000 down in Florida when Bush Gore. You'd think by now we'd have all this figured out.
And Florida's still sticking off there, still the pain.
That's it. So this is still going on. So, we've got to have confidence that my vote counts. And I'll tell you what, I've met so many young people that don't vote. And I ask them, why are you not registered to vote? Do you know that there are people that died so that you can vote? And you know what the general answer is?
It doesn't matter.
No,
that's what I hear.
I'm going to get jury duty.
That's it.
Oh,
jury
really?
Duty. Yeah.
Are you serious?
I work with the.
I
teach school. I teach. That's what I teach.
That's right.
I teach school.
Yep.
And I ask them kids, "How you going to
Jury
vote?"
duty.
Nope. If I vote, I'm gonna have to go to jury duty.
Yeah.
That's their number one reason why they don't vote.
Okay.
And I will tell you this: the people that come and serve on a jury, I cannot tell you how many of them have said, wow, I wish I could have done this before. So everybody tries to get out of jury duty. Everybody calls me, Mike, can you get me out of jury duty? No, you got to come see the judge. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And but I would love to serve on a jury.
Yeah.
But that ain't gonna happen.
No, not yet.
I will say, like, when you get some of the jury, it's nervous. It's nerve wracking for somebody that's never done it before.
You ain't on trial.
Huh?
You ain't on trial.
But still, you got to call. It's nervous to call in every night.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to go anymore.
Yeah.
Thank God. And the next day, it's like, thank God. It's nervous, but it's worth it to be able to
part
say,
of the process.
to say
it is.
And a lot of people say, if you don't vote, you don't get to complain.
That's right.
So
you can't
if you don't vote, you can't complain.
But they do.
Correct.
Oh yeah,
but they do.
They do. But I'll tell you, I want to encourage our young folks to go register to vote. I mean, just think about again, if you follow history like I do, going back to World War II and all those veterans that were killed.
Young men.
Yes.
Yeah. 17, 18 years old.
Oh, yeah. If you look at some of the movies that have come out over the years, the Pacific, Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
I was just watching some Pearl Harbor stuff yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, and just look at 9/11.
Right.
In our lifetime, that was our Pearl Harbor.
That's right.
And I said that yesterday or the Saturday when I was speaking before the run on 9/11,
right.
and it's like, this is our Pearl Harbor. When we were attacked, America was attacked, and and I guarantee you, they're thinking of some other way as we sit here and speak to attack America, and that's another reason why I'm convinced and ready to go to Washington to fight these people who want to take over our country.
And it seems like I'm sure there's intelligence briefings out there. We got a lot of people that aren't in this border that want to attack us, but it seems as if there's this faction inside, whether it be through the media, through they call it fifth dimensional warfare, that's trying to erode the values in this country, whether it be law enforcement, Second Amendment, the family, whatever, to change Western culture.
Oh yeah, and I'm not about to give it up.
Right.
This is. God has blessed America beyond measure. I get up every morning and I thank God, number one, for coffee, and number two, for air conditioning.
Black coffee.
Right.
And just think about, when I was a kid, my grandparents did not have air conditioning.
That's right.
And I grew up going to my grandparents. They had a little farm right up the road in Forest County. I grew up going up there. They didn't have no air conditioning. And, but I didn't care.
Tougher generation.
We went swimming in Red Creek and Black Creek all up through Forest County, and I loved it. And but now air conditioning, summertime, South Mississippi,
pretty well.
It's pretty important.
Yeah.
We all want better for ourselves, for our kids, our grandkids, and I'm telling you, that's I'm fired up and ready to go.
Yeah.
Our buddy Josh Harmon's in the comments. He said he does Fish in the South. It's a YouTube thing, pretty popular, and he says they're pulling for you, for you as well.
Thank you very much. I want to go fishing.
Yeah. We got to get you on the water.
Let's jump off the political game for a little bit.
Dr. Wayne Rudolphich.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
He's with you too, Sheriff.
Okay.
So you're a big fisherman at heart too.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, I was telling you earlier when I was just a boy of 13, 14. My grandfather had an old wooden batty that he gave me, and my dad and I got that thing and fixed it up and painted it. And my dad got me a 15 horsepower outboard motor, and he would launch me down at the Pascagoula Point down there, and he'd give me a specific time to be back. And
before cell phones and GPS.
I tell you, I didn't even have a paddle.
Right.
Could you imagine doing that right now? Could you imagine doing that? Somebody would bring you to jail for that.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have an anchor. I had a rope and like a stick, and that was
walk
it.
back.
Man, I was gone. And I was all over that Pascagoula River.
That's some fine fishing over that way.
Oh yeah.
Fine fishing over that way. Are you it sounds to me like you've never shied away from a challenge or from any type of way to better yourself.
Right.
Is it I'm trying to figure the word here. Is it intimidating is not the right word, but going to Washington with a law enforcement background, but not having been heavily involved, which you do run for sheriff. So you know the political side of it. How do you feel about that?
You're going to be the rookie. You're going to be the new guy.
Right. And we got to go through November the 8th. We're not counting chickens yet.
Right.
But I'm just saying, let's do a little thought experiment.
I've always been competitive. I enjoy a challenge. I enjoy getting out there earning whatever I've worked for. I'm not afraid to get in the mix. As a cop, sometimes you got to be able to think on your feet. And I've always said
instantly,
a good law enforcement officer is a problem solver. I mean, he's out there at 2:00 in the morning when it's pouring down rain, bad things are going on, and you got to figure out what is my best option. And you either got to be able to talk through it, you got to be able to fight through it, you got to be able to reason with it. And I feel very encouraged, just by the people of this district that have turned out for me, my Jackson County family, and all that folks. So I'm ready to go. I tell you, I'm ready to go. I'm ready for it.
Any butterflies?
Not yet. It's always kind of like maybe coming on a show like this, or testifying in court, or you have to. There's nothing wrong with healthy butterflies.
Correct. I believe that.
There's nothing wrong with healthy fear. It's kind of like, just because everybody's jumping off the bridge don't mean I'm going to jump off with them. That's
correct.
That's fear. And, healthy fear is a good thing.
Right.
And, it will help you excel in your life. It will help. Okay.
You're a beekeeper.
Yep.
We didn't even get into that.
No, I didn't know that.
Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. My grandfather was a beekeeper.
Really?
And when I was a little boy, I used to watch him. And he used to tell me about, now my grandfather was born in 1898, okay?
So it's been a while.
Yeah. So he's been gone a long time.
Right.
And so they had this little small farm up in Forest County, and they made a living off what they sold off that farm. And a lot of their money they made was from selling. He sold his honey.
Really?
He had, there was like, in those days, especially during the war and during the Depression, there was like these salesmen that would come through the communities, and they would buy your vegetables and various other things that you had grown or had on the farm, and they would take it down to the French market in New Orleans and sell it.
Really?
Well, there was this few guys that bought my grandfather's honey, and he said that honey helped us through some very hard times, because money was tight. So I always had a desire to want to learn how to fool with them bees, wanted me some bees. So about 10 or so years ago, I was talking about it with a buddy of mine one night, and he said, my family does that. So I was like, really? He said, yeah, come on out. So I went out to Hurley where they had their bee farm, and I just got in there with them, and it was kind of like on the job training. And so they gave me some bees, and I had my own bees, and so now I've got them all at home. I've got I have had 3 hives at home. I took 2 back up to Hurley recently so they could kind of take care of them for me throughout the winter. But I got 1 box I left at the house. But I love fooling with them bees.
I love honey.
Well,
yeah.
listen, I'll bring you some. I wish I'd thought about it. I'd have brought some up here for you.
Well, so they say that's the best for sinuses.
Oh,
yeah,
It's got to be local too,
yeah,
right?
Local honey.
I put it on everything. I put it on my oatmeal. I put it on, you name it, peanut butter toast.
That's right.
Honey on it.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, I love it.
That's
Good for you.
Well, I saw your commercials when you were running.
Yeah.
Your wife's a big staple in your life, right? She supports you 100%.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, she even says he has bees. He's not scared of anybody in Congress.
That was a pretty good commercial.
That was good.
Was,
and she ran it all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's the boss then.
Oh, ain't no doubt about that.
That's right.
Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah. Behind every great man, there's
it.
usually a solid
greater
woman
right.
that's running the show.
You are exactly right.
That's it.
I appreciate her and love her dearly.
Well, good deal. Sheriff, we're like we said, we got November the 8th coming up.
Right.
We got to get the turnout.
Right.
People need to vote. Like we said, it's extremely important.
Right. It is.
And people have given their life for us to have the
That's exactly
right to do that.
When you won the election, did they give you the age of the voters that voted for you? Did they break it down?
I haven't. We have all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't.
I'd be interested to see.
Yeah.
The age group of what voted and what didn't.
It's typically the older population.
Senior adults are our voters.
Right.
I mean, people that are engaged and are senior adults, they go to church and they vote.
That's right.
Period.
That's right.
And so, and I've always, like I say, tried to help anybody, especially our seniors, because so many times, especially like a widow, that doesn't have her husband anymore, and she calls because, something's going on at the house. And, I can't tell you how many times that I've responded to things like that over my career, and it's paid off.
Yeah.
Well, November the 8th, everybody turn out and vote. Where can we send people to stay engaged with you? Where are you the most active?
Right. You can find us on social media. We have a website and all that stuff. Mike at MikeEzell.ms.
Okay.
All lowercase. Mike at MikeEzell.ms.
Okay.
And send us email. Send us money.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Well, you're still looking for it, right?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got all the way through November, and so we got to finish strong.
That's right. That's right.
You give out signs, put in people's yards.
Yeah, you can send an email for a sign. I'll tell you this too. Signs are, like right now we brought them all in,
right?
The majority of them, because in the summertime, if you're not careful and you got a hurricane or a storm comes through, them signs are going to be in Timbuktu.
Or in somebody's window. They want to know what you're going to do about it.
Yeah, that's it. Come get it.
Yeah.
So we got them picked up right now, but we'll start putting them back out in October.
Okay. Good deal.
A little cooler outside. The grass might be there. You have to pick them up, move them so much.
Right.
Y'all are on Facebook.
Yes,
you have a Facebook page for your campaign as well, right? So people can follow you.
for Congress.
Okay. Follow it, because that's what the young kids do nowadays, right? On Facebook.
We're not even on Facebook.
Well, we have all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not I look at Facebook, but I'm not a junkie.
Right.
I can't, because if you're not careful, folks will start trying to pick a fight with you.
Get sucked in there.
That's right.
I ain't getting in no fight on Facebook. You can't win that fight.
Right.
It's kind of like what the old saying used to be: don't get in a fight with the people that buy ink in a 55-gallon drum.
That's right.
I ain't gonna do it.
That's right.
So the best way to get in touch with you would be email?
Yep, MikeEzell.ms.
All right.
There it is.
All right.
Mike at MikeEzell.ms.
There it is. He's still raising money. If y'all want to support, do that.
Yep.
And I think the people of our district, we're going to be proud to have you up in Washington fighting for us, because I feel good about it. I feel like a lot of people go up there and they
get comfortable.
Well, and it turns from representing the people to representing themselves. And I think you got a track record of that not being the case.
That's exactly right.
So,
and like I say, wherever I've ever worked, I've worked for my boss, and I've tried to do a better job, and I'll be working for the people.
And look, this right here just comes up here. Robert Culbertson said, I'm flashing on the screen. He said, please keep yourself accessible, Mike.
Yes.
He said, Palazzo, I'm just reading it. Let us down with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And we're going to try to have as many people in the district as possible as our budget will allow, so that we can meet your needs.
Yeah. And that, like you said, we started out with that. That's how you got into
That's how it kinda
elected
that's it. That's
as
exactly
sheriff.
right. Yep.
So, and
That's
that doesn't change as you move up to
right.
a different.
People are people.
That's right.
Yeah.
And and I'll say it again, now more than ever, people have needs. And and I also, if you run for an elected position, do it. Don't just get there and get elected. Get in there,
do your job,
do it.
Yeah.
Because it's nothing easy about it.
Right.
Nothing easy about it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think they break Mississippi down to the north, the middle, and the south, and you'll be fighting for the south.
Oh yeah,
for us, no doubt.
Yeah, it's all the way up. We go up to Hattiesburg.
That's right.
District. Jones County,
Right.
Laurel,
Yeah.
Waynesboro. That'll up through there.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, Sheriff, man, we appreciate your time coming in here and
Absolutely.
talking with us
Great
tonight.
night.
We got to figure out how to get you on the water and get you.
Oh, yeah.
Get you
Oh
fishing,
yeah,
so.
we're
I'll be ready
gonna
to
film
go.
a fishing trip, no
Okay.
doubt.
Well, look, good luck to you,
Thank you.
November the 8th.
All right.
Everybody, please go show up and do what you got to do. And
Vote.
that's right.
Yep.
So
That's
we'll
it.
see y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
That's it.
Thank you very much.